This is Rob with another excellent edition of the virtual happy hour experience with the Drunken Grape. And we have a sensational guest today. She is a leading author. She has built a global organization that really helps HR departments, people looking for careers, revamping relationships, building their businesses, and has helped multi-billion-dollar corporations literally revamp the way they do things. It is a huge pleasure to also introduce as my great friend, Kristen Sherry. She's a huge wine fan as well. That really helps in the happy hour. Kristen, how the hell are you? This is way overdue. You're like one of my favorite people.
Oh, thank you. I'm living the dream. Things are going really well. I haven't really been on LinkedIn lately, so I haven't seen your great content as much because I've been sort of stepping back a little from social media. Of course, I will be there when our episode goes out to help you promote it. But things are going really well. I'm really focusing on a very holistic aspect to my life right now, which has been very enriching.
Yeah, and you talk about that. We'll get into that. I mean, I've got this great book here. We're going to talk about that. You are a internationally best-selling author. You have built a coaching platform around UMAP. We're going to bring that up and share that on the screen soon enough. But you have a fascinating journey because for one, you talk holistics. I know you challenge yourself on everything you do. And right now, we know that health is a main priority of yours. Anybody that's close to you, you had a health scare and realized health is one of the core pillars of what you talk about, particularly in this book, actually, in Maximize 365. Ladies and gentlemen, I highly recommend you get a hold of this book and that you reach out to Kristen. The show notes are going to have all the details of how to find her. As well, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. When you subscribe, hit the notification bell right beside the subscribe button to the Drunken Grape. You hit select all so you don't miss all the great content coming out with this weekly show. So enough of that. Let's get back to you. Kristen, how did you get all this started? Because you've actually built an international organization that spans across continents now. And this is just incredible. You grew up in Canada, not too far really from me in Ontario. If you think about it, about a 4-hour drive away from Ottawa.
Right.
And now you live in the States. And through that journey, really, how did you get started to building really what you have now is the whole foundation for a global empire, really?
Well, I always call myself an accidental entrepreneur, but that's not entirely true because I think I always had this desire to work for myself, but I didn't know what that would look like. So I used to sit in my desk or my cube and think of products I could invent. I remember when I was a software developer, I would just fantasize all day while I wrote code about different products. And I'm like, well, what if I had read somewhere or listened on NPR that children don't wake up to smoke alarms, but they will wake up to the softest sound of their mother's voice saying time to wake up in their ear. So I was like, what if you had a smoke alarm that recorded a mom's voice saying, wake up, run out of the house? And I Googled it and it had patent 2 years earlier. I'm like, oh, I missed the boat on that one. So I would spend my
Wow.
time trying to think of products. And so it was when I stopped thinking about it that one actually came to me. And really, it was just a series of doors closing that led me to get frustrated with corporate America and leave and do things on my own terms. So one time it was applying for a director position that I wanted, that I felt I was qualified for, and not even getting a call back for it. So I thought, well, the hell with that. So then I had my sights set on doing more executive coaching in my company because I was certified by my company. And I was told, well, we don't want you to spend more than like an hour of your time a week doing this. And I thought, oh, that's so peripheral. I want to do this more. So I decided to just quit my job. And when I did quit my job, my boss got on the phone with HR and with me and talked me into staying. They allowed me a lot more flexibility and freedom in the coaching space. But then a year later, I was like, well, I kind of liked the idea of doing my own thing just in general. So I quit again. And no one talked me out of it that time. So I really credit this one woman named Sam Horn for helping me create UMAP because I had this thing that I was doing already, but it didn't have a brand. And I hired her for 3 coaching hours. And she wasn't cheap, but she was worth it because she changed my life. And she started to ask the right questions. And I find that a good coach knows the best questions. It's really not about giving you the answers, it's about knowing really great questions to ask. And so she started to ask me these questions, and it started to come to life that UMAP really needed to have a name and a registered mark and a brand and something that had handles people could hand around. Because I was doing this sort of patchy thing before UMAP. And then I just started getting phone calls from people asking if they could get certified. So now we've certified people. I'm certifying 18 people right now. Um,
Wow.
yeah, in a the current cohort, but we have coaches in Pakistan, in the UK, in El Salvador, in the United Arab Emirates, quite a few there actually. Of course, in Canada and the United States and Belgium. So it's just, I don't even know how that happened. I'm getting ready to plan the second annual gala, and that woman that I just mentioned is going to be the keynote speaker, which I haven't told the coaches who's the speaker yet. And it's really exciting because she's a pitch coach and she helps people get to yes. And she's really good at helping convert prospects to clients. And that's why I wanted to hire her to help the coaches grow their businesses and their influence. That was a long way around
And
the
that's
block to say it was a combination of wanting to work for myself, but not knowing what that would look like. And just people not like, I realized I was the architect of my own career at some point. And I thought, if I'm going to do what I want and blow the lid off my potential, I need to call the shots. And I'm so ruined now because I run in the morning or do yoga and hit workouts, and then I'll work for a couple of hours and I pick up my kids from school. I don't take calls when I don't feel like it. I'm just so spoiled. I absolutely love it. But I will tell you, the key to that was really listening to advice from my mother. And she said, Kristen, don't ever tie your time to your dime. She said you need to create passive income strategies. And so that's when I built up a product store and started to write books. And that has enabled me to take summers off to spend with my girls. And it's been just, when I said I was living the dream, I've architected the life I wanted, and I figured out what would it take to get me there. But I'm going to be 50 years old on Saturday. This is not something that I graduated from college and just let's do it. I mean, it took some time and effort, and I worked my butt
oh
off for
yeah.
years to get to that point. But I really would say to people, you have a lot more control over how you spend your day than you think you do.
You do. And, to get to that now, this fabulous book, Maximize
I have one of
365.
those.
I've scratched the surface of this, but this is a brilliant book for architecting your life on a daily plan. It talks about pillars that are important: finance, health, relationships, some of the key ones. And it's funny because right through the introduction, it's very well written. It's easy to read. You've got a rating criteria here between spirituality, career, finance, health, and wellness. And, I was talking to you in the green room. I score really well in these except finance. I'm sort of smack in the middle. I'm not poor, but I'm not
You
where I
don't
want
have
to
the
be. And
your
it's,
goals in
you
where you
know,
want them, right?
right. And I'm happy to say that's, we were chatting, that's one of the easiest ones to fix.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now I'm working on passive income ideas, like video courses on how to do a virtual event on a budget, and, your 4 standard wines or beer styles, how you can just host it for your friend. You can sell these things off your website, as you know, or publishing books, and then it just has reoccurring revenue.
Yeah.
And you're right, because if you study the richest people and the most successful people in the world, they have maximized time and taken complete control of it.
Yeah.
And what they've done
Multiple revenue
is
streams.
they've built right, and they've built capital. And for those that don't understand the tax system, they think tax the rich, they should be punished. Well, capital is always going to be taxed at a lower rate than income.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it's built. Because income creates opportunities, or capital creates opportunities. And it's also that old joke I say: if you try to tax rich people, they're just going to pay themselves in loans, and you're
Yeah,
never
they'll
going to be able to
always
tax
find
them anyway. Or they
loopholes.
just
They have a lot of money to pay for accountants that are really good. And so, yeah, I mean, that's That's a rabbit chase. Yeah.
It is. And, instead of people screaming about it, I like your approach. Fix your finances because most people are in a financial hole. I mean, if I put myself at a 5 or 6 out of 10 with debt, but enough money to easily clobber that debt if I have to hit the on switch with a surplus, most people are actually in debt without an ability to pay it off if it's
Right. And they
called.
have one income
And
stream, their
that's,
job. So I have seven revenue streams, and that was something that I intentionally set out to do. And it was, and when I say seven, I don't count all the books as a revenue stream. That's books are one, one revenue stream. But I really took my mom's advice to heart because she's an investor and she's a coach as well. And she's 75 years old and she just gave me a lot of really, actually, she'll be 76 this year. But she gave me a lot of really great advice. And so I realized throughout my life, I had received so much great advice from mentors. And now I'm mentoring people, giving them this advice. So I went on LinkedIn one day and I said, hey, I'm going to write my next book. What do you want me to write? And I gave three options and people voted for this. So I said, all right, I'm going to do it. And it just blew my doors off because it won the Motivational Book of the Year this year from Indie Book Awards, which is the largest
yeah.
indie awards contest in the world. And I never expected to win. But my publisher entered it and I was just like, what? When I got the email, I was like, what? What?
that's awesome. And you've written a children's book that has really done great too. You Got Gifts, because I know that you're a huge fan of motivating the youth of tomorrow. And on that note, I have to say cheers on the happy hour to
It's a
you.
series, actually.
Look at
There's
those
four
books.
of them.
These are awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. And the illustration was done by one of our friends on LinkedIn, if I stand corrected. Cheers to that, my friend. Happy hour, ladies and gentlemen. What are you drinking in your hand, Kristen? What do you have
So
there?
this is a winery that my husband and I discovered a couple of years ago called Two Jakes. It used to be called the Diamond Ridge Winery because there was diamonds discovered there back in the day. But Two Jakes is named after, there's three generations of this Jacob Stevens, but they go by Jake Stevens. And so Jacob the Second and Jacob the Third, his son, Jacob II died in 2008, but they started this winery called the Two Jakes together, and that's what it's named after. But I love this wine. It's located in Lake County, which is north central California, and it's on Clear
Okay.
Lake. And what's so cool about this is they have volcanic hill um, rock soil, and then it's on the lake, so it has a Mediterranean climate. So because of that soil and the Mediterranean climate, it's really like a Bordeaux. And this is a Meritage
Wow.
specifically. It's mostly Merlot. They have great Merlot there. Probably I would rival it for Napa's for sure. So it's about
Oh, wow.
88.5% Merlot, 6 point something Cabernet Sauvignon, and a splash at like 5% of Cabernet Franc, which is one of my favorite varietals. And this wine is great. It's been put in neutral oak for 90 months. And yeah, so
Wow. Wow.
this particular bottle is a 2013. You can drink it now, but it'll be great for another decade cellared. And I love it because since it is in that Mediterranean climate, that breeze coming off of Clear Lake really gives the fruit just it retains that fruit. So it's like a clone 15 and a clone 4 cab sav. So it's got like cherries and um, it's just really great from the fruit. But I would let it breathe. And the tannins are nice and firm, which I like a firm tannin in a wine personally. It has such a nice weighty feel in the mouth. But what's cool about it is because it has that volcanic soil, it has great minerals, but also it has like sage and rosemary, similar to the French style. It's like a Pomerol specifically from, um,
Yeah, right
yeah,
bank.
yes, exactly. It's a really nice bottle of wine. It's $30 for this particular wine. We bought at least a case of it because we liked it so much. we always usually buy wine by the case because we're collectors. I am not an expert by any means, but I've been an enjoyer of wine for about a quarter of a century.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's volcanic soils really influence the terroir tremendously. There's a lot of things it does. One of the things is it eliminates a lot of pests because you get these loose volcanic soils. There's a louse called phylloxera that slaughtered vineyards across Europe, and they believe that that came about in the 19th century. It was first sighted in Europe, I believe, in French vineyards. And a lot of it was because of steam shipping power, and it was a louse that's native to North America. But the soil types it did not survive in or could not live in were very loose sandy soils or volcanic soils because volcanic soils have high acidity as well. It doesn't allow
Oh,
microbes to
nice.
live too well in it. But this is awesome for viticulture, and this is why areas like the region of Campania, which sits around Naples or Napoli, was world famous even in Roman times with Falernum, which was they actually based that grape on the whole classification system that's built today between first growth, second growth, third growth. The middle of the slope had the best grapes, the top of the slope, the second best, the bottom, the worst. This came from that whole region, and it's all volcanic. You know, you have Vesuvius, and you have other volcanoes, or at the time semi-active and active volcanoes within a chain of each other. And yes, volcanic soils are incredible. John Sabo, who's a master sommelier, actually writes a book specifically on the power of volcanic soils with viticulture. And I'm not surprised because California does have volcanic soils. It actually has half of the different soil types in the world located in that one little biosphere of
It's got a
California.
nice
It's
high altitude
incredible.
too, so you don't have like all the fog. It's nice and sunny. It's just really all those things coming together
Yeah,
with the breeze from the lake and that Mediterranean climate and the soil and the altitude and the sun. It really produces such a fantastic wine. And I like their Cab Franc as well. I like their Cab Sauvs. This I don't drink a lot of Meritages. Most of them that I have had before tend to be like Cab Sauv, Cab Franc with a Petit Verdot. I was really surprised when I saw this was mostly Merlot, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that because I tend to like the heavier reds.
yeah, but
But I found
sure.
so I think a lot of people who don't like red wine make them so like in the United States, I can't speak for Canada, but in the United States, 97% of all wine purchases drank within 2 weeks. So people will go and just drink it.
Yep.
So they don't really know. It's like, okay, that's a 2018 Cab Sav. You probably should like decant it or like cellar it for a little while, but people don't want to do that. They buy it for a party or whatever. So I think what happens is people go, "Oh, I'll try this Cab Sav," and it's 3 years old, and it's recommended to be cellared for 10 years, and they're like, "Oh, that's terrible. It just tastes like burn alcohol," and all tannin, no fruit. There's no balance, and I think that people don't realize, like, start with a Gamay, start with a Pinot Noir, and work your way up, and then cellar
Yeah,
and decant and things like
yeah,
that. But people here are just really in a
yeah,
rush to drink it,
yeah.
and it's not ready. And I think that's why people
It's true.
don't like red wine when they don't like it, because they're really drinking something that's not ready.
That's true. And when something's been barreled for a while, it has a lot of structure and, it's got a rigidity to the profile. And that's where tertiary flavors come to life is when they've been bottle aged for a while. The longer you bottle age it to a point, the better it's going to do. I was given a bottle of Caymus for my birthday just this Friday. And that's about $100 and some odd bottle of wine. And he's like 110. It's a 2019 and 2018 and 19 were terrific years for Napa. If you really want to enjoy that Caymus, you don't crack it now. You let that sit in your cellar or your wine fridge at about 59 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. You can even let it settle for less or lower temperatures, but it's going to take
Hmm.
longer to mature and bottle age. But you're so much better off even hanging on to that for an extra year or two, let alone 5 or 6 or 7, where it's going to really come to life. And you're right. It's actually about 99% drink now. It's wine that you need to consume within 2 years, It has no aging potential. And most people aren't reaching for the $30 bottles, even though it's such a much better class of wine than the standard, $10 to $20 range that they're
I've
buying.
found a lot of really
There's
nice
a lot more
wines in that
potential,
20 to
but it's,
$30 range. I generally am not interested in a wine that's like 9.99
yeah.
unless it's Relax Riesling when it goes on sale. I love a Riesling in the summer. I love German wines, I'll say Germany. Gewürztraminer as well, but Riesling is one of my favorites. But I tend to like I don't tend to like the late harvest as much. I like a dry Riesling over a very sweet one. The Spatlese is good if you get the Dr. Heidman Bergweiler, I think is the winery there, and all.
I
Oh
know the wine you're
yeah,
talking about. They
their
make some
late
great
harvest is
Riesling, even
good. Woo,
late autumn
yeah.
Riesling. Also, yeah, 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 yeah. So I have a vodka cream liqueur here. This is from the Dairy Distillery. This is from Almont, Ontario. So this is a great product. It was introduced to me by a guest on the show, Derek Fage. He's a well-known media personality in Ottawa. And what they do is they distill this and they
Oh,
add cream to
yum.
it. So you have cream liqueur. So it's a vodka. Now, vodka means water of life. Vodka is a Slavic word, comes from the 8th century, and a lot of the water that was taken for this, and it was typically potato that was fermented at the time because potato crops were so readily prevalent in cooler Eastern European climates, but as artisanal water. So it collects water that collects almost like a natural well in a rock basin is used because it's hard water that has all kinds of mineral content to it, which produces typically great vodka. So that's the history of it. And it's funny because all the spirits seem to have water of life added to it. It's like whiskey bee. The Gaelic
Oh,
word
that's
means water of
funny.
life too. And these cultures weren't aware of what each other was doing. Yeah. So wine is eau
It
de vie,
becomes water of death
water
if
of
you
life to a sense.
overindulge,
So
of
it's just
course.
like, yeah, and at the time, water was
Yeah.
not safe typically to drink, so people would drink some type of low alcohol beer or some low distilled liqueur half the time
Well, right.
because it was
Given the
safe to
choice
drink,
of
or they would add it to
dysentery or
water to purify it.
cholera, or I would drink that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, cheers to that. It's a great distillery. I'm going to have some show notes for some of these things there as well. But we're going to bring up a bit of a screen share here. So, I'm trying to find what I have for UMAP. I had it here, and I'm just trying to screen share it and see if I can. Just bear with me. It's always a
I am
technical
terrible
juggle.
with technology,
I think
so
I
I'm the
had it.
most patient person when
UMAP.
people are having tech challenges.
So I think I brought it up. Here we go. Chrome tab. And we have got it right over here. So I'm going to share this. Now this is going to, we're going to put this down. Now here we go. We're in
Oh,
your website itself. So you got all kinds of cool things here. I know from reading, yes, you have the Career Innovator Award of 2020. Your brilliance is very well stated. I saw that somebody from a multi-billion-dollar corporation heavily endorsed you in your profile. And it talks a lot about what you do because I think, like you said, you got frustrated with the corporate world. And right now, what we're seeing, in a sense, is the great reset of the great
yes.
resignation. People are fed up. The pandemic woke up a lot of people. In my industry that I'm tied to with hospitality, you are seeing an exodus. People are just flocking for the hills because who wants to have crappy pay with no benefits and bad treatment from less than scrupulous owners? And it's no better in most of our corporate structure because guess what they only care about in most companies? Shareholder equity. They don't care about their people. And this is bringing the humanity back to the business. And you've had some massive success with it. And I see down here you've got the UMAP profile, you have the UMAP youth, you have the UMAP teens. All in here, you've got your blog. They can log in. Obviously, they can become a member. They can download a
Oh,
chapter
by
to
the
your book,
way,
UMAP,
I don't know
which
when
is an
this is going
international
live, but UMAP is
bestseller.
going to be free on ebook on October 1st. Is this going to be out in time? Okay, well, there you go.
Yes.
On Amazon.
Your show will be out on time. I believe it's going to come right on time. So that's perfect. So it'll come out a few days after that. Week this Thursday, this will be launched. So for the viewers out there, pay attention to that because Kristen has brilliant insights, brilliant coaching tips, things that can really revolutionize, I think I got that right, but it can really make a huge difference, not only in your career, but in your personal lives, your romance, your
Well, just to
relationships. I
briefly
mean,
explain to make it
she covers the
tangible for
basis of
people,
a ton of
essentially what
things.
UMAP does is it reveals four things: how you work, why you work, what you want to work on, and who you are. And that's your strengths, your values, and your strengths are your natural talent, which are expressed through your values. So, for example, if you're really good at building relationships with people, and you value making a difference in people's lives, you will use your relationship building talent to make a difference in people's lives. So you want to express your strengths through your values. And then your the what you work on, that what is your skills, your motivated skills. We have burnout skills and we have motivated skills. And then your the who you are is your interests. So your interests are expressed through the skills you like to do. So if you like to create or organize or do or help, whatever it is you like to do in terms of interests, the specific skills you enjoy, that's expressed through those. So, for example, I like to create and think. Those are my two drivers for my personality. And I like to write, which is why I write books. I create and think, and it expresses through the skill of writing. So it helps you really hone in on what do you do best that other people need
That's
most.
awesome. Yeah, and you know what? And you just say it right here: the four pillars of career fit: strengths, values,
Hmm.
preferred skills, and interests. And when we go through the guidance counselor or typical HR department for some kind of counseling, usually the HR department works for the company anyway, not for you, but they never cover these things off typically. And this is a game changer. I could see where companies are thinking of like firing half their team because the team's not performing. Well, how about repurposing them
Hmm.
due to their strengths? Put them in their strength positions. Like in the game of soccer, I'm watching Ted Lasso right now. It's hilarious. It's a really good show on Apple, and of course, he comes along and he's a football coach coaching all of a sudden a premiership team in England. So he knows American football, but not soccer. But what he does know is he starts to study
Mm.
people to see their strengths, their values, their level of teamwork, and what their skills are. And he starts slotting them into those positions. And this is exactly what this does. And that's how you create a winning franchise, a winning operation. If you're a business owner out there, you definitely want to reach out to Kristen about things like this, because lots of businesses are not living up to their potential at all. And this is something that can just jack it up and almost put the whole ship on steroids and have massive success quite quickly with it. And it's just by retooling what they're
Yeah,
already
right
doing in
people
a
in the
more
right
purposeful
roles.
manner. That's how I see it.
It's super powerful. I hired my operations
Yeah.
manager at
Y-
UMAP just by seeing her UMAP. I had never seen her resume. I didn't know her work history. I knew nothing about her, but I saw her UMAP and I knew she was what I needed. And I hired her without ever seeing her resume, and she just had her 2-year anniversary with me in August, and she's incredible.
Yeah, and you can see the testimonials here, actionable guidance, how to apply that knowledge, just even 100% clear, even choosing candidates who is better fit for a position based
Hmm.
on assessing what their strengths are relative to what the organizational needs are at the time. This is incredible. So we're definitely going to share the details to that. I think this is fantastic. Listen, you're always awesome to chat with. You are a tremendous guest. Again, happy hour. Cheers to you, Kristen. Love your wine knowledge, by the way. I was proud to host a
Which
virtual
I highly
tasting experience
recommend.
for
My
you and
husband
your
and I will
husband
never
on one New
forget
Year's
our
Eve.
tasting. It was our
Um,
wedding anniversary, and Rob walked us through a number of wines, and it was a memory we will never forget for the rest of our lives. It was such a great investment of our time, of our resources to spend that time with you. And it was just so informative and interesting. And I just found that you were
awesome.
just a wealth of knowledge, and it just geeked me out. I loved it.
And it's fun. And on the last parting note of that, the power of it all now with virtual events is you collapse it into a borderless, timeless experience. You can wipe out corporate travel now. This is how you can get work groups to unite and collaborate and really engage over events like this that we didn't even think was possible prior to the pandemic, even
I
though we
didn't
have the
imagine
technology
how
at our
that was going to
fingertips. And
work,
this
but
is
it
where
felt
things
like
have
you were in
really
the room
changed for
with
that.
us and we were really engaged. And I honestly didn't find it a detraction at all being virtual. I felt we got so much out of it.
Yeah, it was easier because you were in your hotel room at the time. Other people could be at home. They could be in
We
a
were in
comfort.
our
I still
dining
think you
room,
were at
sitting at
home,
our
but
dining room
you have the
table.
comfort of your own home. Yeah, and you know what? What a joy, because you could attend to the you
Yeah,
could
but it
tend to
was
the
nice
needs
to
of your
be able to
children,
just stay
put
in our
them to bed or get
yoga
them to an
pants and be
activity and do it
comfortable,
from your
not have to
house.
travel anywhere. I loved it.
Yeah, the commute is definitely a killer. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a tremendous session. Make sure to reach out to Kristen Sherry and her brilliant company, UMAP. Make sure to connect with her on LinkedIn. Make sure to follow her. I will have the website address and the show notes of this company, as well as how to get a hold of Kristen directly. You've been a tremendous guest again. Happy hour. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever you decide to do, this has been a brilliant edition of the virtual happy hour with the Drunken Grape. Have a great day, whatever you decide to do, and bye for now.